everyone. So let's first talk about the elephant in the room. I have two different makeup looks that are very similar on each side of my face. And that's because in today's video, we are going to be talking about makeup preferences. We're going to be kind of meditating on the question, do you prefer to build up a makeup look, build up the pigmentation, build up the coverage, the texture, the color, or do you prefer to sheer down a look? Do you prefer to use a really high pigment product and then shearing it down a bit to the amount of pigment that you want? Ultimately, this is going to have a really big impact on the products that end up working the best for you. The way we enjoy applying makeup, if we do like to take our time and really build layers, or if we want something with really instant pigment, I think that ultimately plays a really huge role in the products that we gravitate towards and really enjoy. So that's what this video is about. I applied this half of my makeup shearing down high pigment products, and then this half of my makeup was created by products that I needed to build up to get the impact over here. It was a really interesting experiment, and I did give you guys a ton of different recommendations for each side of the face. So literally no matter what your preference is, I think you'll be able to find some items that you really like. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Amanda. I would love to have you back. If you are looking for reviews that don't just take into account my personal makeup preferences, I think you're in the right place. I think it's important that no matter what my personal makeup preference is, I'm doing my due diligence and letting you guys know the full scope of makeup products, application styles, so that you can just truly find the routine and the products that work best for you. So if you resonate with that, I would love to have you back on my channel. And let's just jump in. Let's start applying some makeup. So let's talk about skin prep a little bit. I actually pulled two different products that I think are a really good representation of building up moisture and building up a base for makeup, or just getting like immediate glow and kind of getting that immediate hydration on the face very fast. Again, everyone is different, and honestly, I like to kind of go both ways depending on how quickly I want to get my makeup done. But the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base is one of those base priming products for your makeup that you can so easily build up. You can really layer it in areas on the face that you want more moisture, but also kind of just whisper it over the skin on the areas that you know might get oily. So it's really a great option. One of my favorite primers that I've ever used. So, and I don't know if you guys can tell, I always feel like immediately when I put this on, it just gives me this really fresh and pretty moisture to my skin and almost like just this very soft blur. You know, I've been using this product for years. I cannot get enough of it. But on the other end of the spectrum, you're someone that really likes opacity, you like impact right away. Something like the Glossier Future Dew might be a really good option. Reason being, this product is a serum hybrid, an oil serum hybrid, and I don't know if you can tell, immediately I'm applying this, and right there, way more immediate moisture and way more glow. And I find particularly when my skin is just very dry and I need to know that I can get this immediate moisture into my skin and a finish that's going to radiate throughout a foundation, I will definitely reach for this. But in the same sense, you could buy a product like this and just use a little bit and shear it out over the face and get a similar look to the one that we have over here with the Bobbi Brown. And that's kind of where my question comes in on whether or not you like to sheer out your makeup or you like to build it up. Something that I really like about a product that you can sheer out is that those kind of makeup products just tend to, in general, be a little bit more versatile. You have the option for absolute full pigmentation, but the other side of the coin is that those products can definitely be more difficult to work with. So hopefully as we go through this routine, you guys are kind of asking yourself these questions. So let's talk about foundation. This is a really good way to kind of zero in a makeup preference like this. So I'm going to use the Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. This is one of those products that I would certainly sheer out on my skin because it really has a lot of coverage. Truly a classic way to get a foundation to sheer out over the skin really prettily. If you do find that it has a lot of coverage for you, it's a damp sponge. We all pretty much know this at this point, but when you have a damp sponge, it just naturally is going to pick up a little bit of the product, any of the excess. And you can see I am not even using half of the pump that I put out on my hand. And this is really just giving us a very pretty veil of coverage. But overall, you just get the impact of this pigment so much faster. Something that ends up being really desirable about that is, one, if you're in a rush, you can get a decent amount of coverage on your face pretty quickly. The reason I like to ask folks if they prefer to sheer out a makeup item is that it kind of gets to the core of the issue, which is that product with more pigmentation is almost always going to act differently on the skin to a product that you need to build up in order to get pigmentation. The textures are often very different. The way they perform long term can also be very different. I think a really big plus to a product that you sheer out is that there's just overall less product sitting on the skin, which tends to help longevity in my opinion. So we have now sheared out this product all over the skin. I still have so much that I could potentially use. And again, a damp sponge is really going to get you there very quickly. You might be someone that really prefers to very slowly build up a product because you can find yourself, for example, over applying a product, which I don't know about you. I have found in the past that that was my issue. I could never figure out why my products were not sitting as well on my skin. And it was because I was going for these incredibly high pigment forward products. And I think again that there are good products in either category, but I also think there's something to be said about building up a formula. I think especially with eye makeup, some faces in general can hold a lot more makeup than others. And I have heard this before and it just always stuck with me. I think there are some faces that you can apply just one more layer of concealer, just one more shadow onto the lower lash line, and then all of a sudden the makeup looks quite intense. The beautiful part about building up products is that you have more control in the sense of not getting to a more intense look very quickly. So I find that products that build up slowly are naturally better for beginners. Now, this product that I am applying right now is the Kogan Dough Aqua Foundation, and I'm building up this coverage specifically with a brush. A brush is a really nice way of being able to build up your coverage faster, just like a sponge is a faster way of shearing out a higher pigmentation product. So you can see that we've pretty much got the exact same level of coverage on both sides of my face because of the products we used and the way we are applying them. For concealer, I'm going to be using the Say Hydra Beam Concealer. And this is a great one to build up in my opinion. It is really not the best shade for me right now. I'm going to mix in a little bit of my Armani Luminous Silk Concealer. This is also a great concealer to slowly build up coverage under the eyes. I find that I always need a couple layers with these, but if I just want the immediate pigmentation, then I will go in with the Kosas. So on this side, on the side with the Kosas, I'm going to be showing you guys how to, sheer out a higher pigmentation product like this. But I hope that you guys can also see the immediate pigmentation of all of these products and kind of that instant gratification of them. Because if you are someone that prefers that, all of these products will work really well for you, even if you don't feel like shearing them out, if that makes sense. Because you don't need to. But just so that each half of the look, we kind of end up at the same point. That's why I'm doing it for this video. But again, if we want to sheer out this concealer, a really quick way to do that is, again, the damp sponge. So this definitely has sheared out the coverage over here. But on this side, a surefire way of building up coverage is to actually let your concealer sit, because it's going to end up drying down a little bit and you're going to be getting more concentrated coverage. It's one of my favorite tips. I've told you guys that for years, but if it's something that you still haven't tried, I highly recommend it, especially with these, you know, these more dewy light reflecting products. All right, so I went ahead and let that sit, and I'm also using the same damp sponge. But what you will see here is that even though these two products have less coverage than the Kosas, we are pretty much left with the same amount of coverage on both eyes. So kind of as a quick recap for where we are now, the Future Dew, the Hourglass, and the Kosas, everything that they have in common is that we're getting kind of instant gratification and instant pigment that is still able to be manipulated and sheared out. So if you find that you lean towards these products, as you continue to watch my channel, I'm going to make sure that I'm making sure to always let you know, yes, this can be built up. Yes, this has instant pigment. And as you guys continue to wear makeup and buy makeup, I think it's important to kind of notice these similarities between the products that you always reach for. Same thing goes over here. I love every single product that I put on this side of my face, but every product I have over here is a product that I almost always need to layer up to get me the desired effect that I want. I don't think you have to be an either or person necessarily, but as the way things stand right now, I prefer the base overall here on this side of my face. I think it looks more natural versus the side that I actually sheared out. So let's go ahead and get into cheeks. Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Bronzer is a very classic bronzer that you need to build up on your skin. You can see right now, I barely have any pigment. It's like third dunk into the product. You just really have to build it up. But what that is able to do for me is give me a very natural bronze effect. And that is why I always go back and recommend this one. Sometimes a bronzer with way too much pigment can actually look muddy faster. And in general, if you're just someone that wants to be able to kind of willy-nilly apply a bronzer all over the face, noticing that makeup preference will really help you select one that works for you. And obviously that's what I'm here for too. You guys are always welcome to leave me comments because I love, you know, being able to help you guys. But here we go. This side of my face is bronzed. Also I am going to kind of add a little bit more to this side of my face, more bronzer, just because it's clear that the two foundations I used are different colors. But the Janessa Myricks Color Fix Nudes, this is the shade 8. This is an incredibly pigmented product. That is all you, I mean, that's more than you need for an entire face. But let me kind of give you guys a demo of this. As you can see with this formula, it is very, very pigmented right off the bat. And I think it would just work so beautifully for those of you that love that instant pigment. You want that instant bronzed effect on your skin and you're not afraid of blending. If you're not afraid of blending, this is definitely the product for you. Not to say that it doesn't like blend super easily. There is something that I think I've learned about something like the Makeup by Mario bronzer, and that's that I think for a lot of people, it's just gonna be way too sheer. But if you are someone that really likes that bronze look and you want to be able to get rich pigment that you could, you know, potentially sheer out if you wanted to, then this product is just gonna work way better. I am gonna take just a little bit more onto the cheeks. And what I have noticed when it comes to slowly building up a product with more pigment is that pressing it in just goes a really, really long way. Try not to rub if you can. Let's talk about cheek products. Cream blush. I feel like comparing these two products is really going to get to the heart of what we're talking about here today. So the Rare Beauty. Let's say you're someone that just cannot get down with them. You're like, it's just way too much pigment, but you really like the concept. You like the creaminess of the product. You like the spreadability, but in general, you just found it too difficult to work with because of that pigment. Using this product from Charlotte Tilbury, I think is just such a better way to go for you. So here I'm adding 3 dots of color and I'm just tapping that in. And you can see still has this lovely, beautiful spreadability. It wants to blend into the skin and it wants to layer. So we're going in with another layer. You can layer up that pigment and get a really blushy look. Over here, the Rare Beauty. For the same amount of pigment, we need about 1 dot and we can sheer it out, because in general, Rare Beauty they know how to bring the pigment when it comes to these blushes. I do find that a good product with a lot of pigment also has a bit of a spreadability. It doesn't want to just stick exactly where you put it. That I do think kind of separates a really fun to use high pigment product from one that really gives you trouble. So now we're on dot number 2 and we're just shearing it out now. And I think we're essentially at the same pigmentation level that we got to with building up 4 dots of the Charlotte Tilbury. Here are both sides of the face. Something that I am beginning to notice is that this side of the face looks really creamy, but very diffused as well. Whereas this side, the layers are just so thin that you don't necessarily get that kind of creamy finish, which I think some of you might not want a little bit of that creamy look on your skin. You might want something a little bit flatter or more truly skin-like, because you know our skin doesn't naturally look super creamy necessarily. So that's some differences that I am noticing on my skin. For the eyes, I think comparing these 2 products is going to be really interesting. So this is the Air Mousse in Date Picnic from Etude House. It has this really nice kind of moussey texture to it. It's a little bit like the Super Shock shadows a bit. You can see though that it doesn't have a ton of pigment right off the bat. You can certainly build it up though. So I'm going in for layer 2. That's layer 1. And now we're really getting some pretty shine. Some people want this amount of shine right off the bat. They don't like to go in with another layer, especially on the eyes. Sometimes when you keep layering a shadow, especially a cream shadow, there is the potential that it will crease faster. But there it is. The beautiful thing about a product that can be built up this way is that this was just like really a dream to apply. It took like no time. And that also I think is just a testament to this formula. This is a new favorite of mine. But if you want that immediate pigment much faster, using something like Hourglass Scattered Light in the shade Ray will probably be a better option. You can even see just from the pan the difference in how reflective they are. The way the formula works and the way it's pressed is meant for more impact and more pigment. So what we're doing is applying a generous amount to the lid, and then we're going to shear it out to match the other eye. What an absolutely beautiful shade. You can see just with a little shearing out, we have 2 looks that are definitely matching in their overall kind of aesthetic. You know, they're just different formulas. And some days you want to be able to stick your finger into something and get immediate pigment. And other days you might just be feeling like you want to slowly build up a little look. I think the Hourglass is better for those of you that want that like immediate impact though. So beautiful. I will say though that I'll leave the Air Mousse link down below as well. It is way more affordable. So that's that. So when we talk about mascara, I think mascara is another really good example of, do you want a mascara that can be built up to give you a really strong look? Or do you want one that you potentially need to even take off a little bit of the excess with a tissue and then apply? Or you can, you know, obviously go for the full shebang. But I have selected a couple that I think will be a really interesting comparison. So a kind of mascara that I would potentially sheer out or take off a little bit of the excess and then apply would be the Essence Lash Princess. This is one of those mascaras that you might even want to take a spoolie after and kind of comb through it, because you are just getting so much color and length and definition and volume immediately. Like the fact that my eyes already look like this after applying this for not even 20 seconds is crazy to me. Honestly, I'm gonna probably stop there and I might go through with a spoolie. But if you prefer something that you can slowly build up, I would recommend the Tower 28. It is so pleasant to build up. It doesn't go flaky really fast or crumbly, or you don't get the spider lashes right off the bat. You could sit here and apply this for like a good minute and it would just keep getting bigger, but it wouldn't necessarily be over the top. A great example of the fact that just because a product is more subtle doesn't mean that you can't slowly build the impact that you want. So here we are. I think I could even, again, like brush these out and I would get more of a similar effect to the Tower 28. Both are really, really pretty though. Lastly, for the lips, I wanted to go with some more glossy lips. This is Hourglass Lucid, and this has been such a beautiful product for me to build up. You can see one layer is so fresh and like just like this beautiful kiss of color. I'm actually like kind of obsessed with this color right now, like great with a tan, but you can see can also build it up and get quite a pop of pigment. The formula is also like amazing if you love like more of a glossy lip balm, lip gloss stick vibe. I think these are pretty much the best. But let's say you want this immediately. You don't want to have to build it up. That's when I would go with something like the 3CE. And this is a different color, but you can see here, the pigment is just way more intense, and sheer it out a little bit to kind of match the pigmentation that we have going. But listen, both are super beautiful. So I hope this video was interesting to you guys. Just kind of walking through some products that you potentially might like based on your preferences, based on whether you like that instant pigment or you like something that is more of a slow builder. If you have any questions about different ways to build up product or sheer out product, you want more tips, if you want product recommendations, I'll be in the comments. I'm happy to help. And overall, thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in my next one.